This is the Ottawa Senators Outlook. Here is your host, Jack Henry.
Hello, welcome to the Ottawa Senators Outlook. I'm your host, Jack. This is my recap reaction to the Montreal Canadiens game, so let's get right to it. The Senators lose this game 4-1 to the Montreal Canadiens. Emil Heineman on the power play to make it 1-0 Montreal in the first period. Then Cole Caulfield scores to make it 2-0. And then in the third period, Alex Newhook scores to make it 3-0. Tim Stützle scores to cut the lead to 2. And then Cole Caulfield scores again, 4-1 Montreal Canadiens, and there's your final score. The goaltending matchup was Ullmark versus Montembeault. And, Ullmark was able to stop only 22 of 26. And Montembeault stopped 24-25. I want to get into a lot of points because I do have a lot to say about this. I mean, I really cut it short. Like, we lost to the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, that in itself is not a good topic to talk about because the Montreal Canadiens are an inferior team and they walked all over us today. Just no excuses whatsoever. This was an inexcusable loss for the Ottawa Senators. And, again, this is pathetic. I mean, you talk about a team with the talent that they have going up against, like I said, an inferior team, and they're struggling against them. This is not going to work against the Rangers, the Lightning, the Maple Leafs, the Bruins, the Devils. The list goes on. Absolutely pathetic by the Ottawa Senators tonight. And let me tell you, the room right now, that locker room, someone needs to say something right now because I have 2 points for that. One, if a message does not get across by Coach Green or one of the leadership players, one, nothing's going to be said ever if it doesn't happen now. Or two, it's only going to get worse from here. It is game 2 of the season, and we cannot allow these habits to happen already. I was talking about the zone entry mistakes and the poor blown defensive coverage in the final 2 periods, specifically that third period against the Florida Panthers, and it creeped up against us today. This is a problem, and like I said, this is not going to work against top teams in the East, let alone 7 other teams in our division where at least 6 of them are going to be fighting for the playoffs. If the Senators want to be a serious team, they need to cut it out and stop these habits and play the right way and play good style of hockey where they're limiting the mistakes and they can play the right way. Instead, what they did tonight was forget that there is an entire middle section of the ice and try to deflect it along the boards and make costly turnovers, which is exactly what happened. The offense outside of Tim Stützle and maybe Kachuk once in a while was pathetic. Noah Gregor, Nick Cousins, and heck, even Zach McEwen were the only competent forwards out there tonight. And our bottom 2 pairs were brutal. And like I said, that third pair was also bad, and that crept up against us today. Tyler Kleven is not ready to play in the NHL, and that proved in training camp. We still gave him the shot, and he did not look good in these last 2 games. Travis Hamonic looks like a dinosaur out there, and he should not be seeing NHL minutes for the rest of his career. Jacob Bernard-Docker is probably not even much better, to be quite honest with you, and that's the concerning part. The depth on this D is not good, and it needs to change, because if the depth is going to stay the way it is, we are not going to win a lot of games this year. You could put anybody in net there. You have Linus Ullmark, who is a top-class goaltender, who was able to stop only 22 shots out of 26 for an under 900 save percentage, and you can blame him on a couple of goals if you want, but the bottom line is, there were some goals that are strictly on the D-core, especially that first goal. That bottom pair on the penalty kill left the slot wide open for, I don't even know this dude's name. It was his first NHL goal. Granted, it's against the Senators once again. Emil Heineman, like I said, on the power play, and the bottom pair, as incompetent as it is, leaves the slot wide open for an easy shot to score the goal. And then on top of that, you have Thomas Chabot, who has a good partner in Nick Jensen. Nick Jensen had a costly turnover today. But on top of that, Thomas Chabot was able to have an odd man rush. Instead, what does he do? He deflects it along the boards, which goes right to the opposition. All you have to do is make a simple pass to the center of the ice, and you get an odd man rush. This team is absolutely allergic to the neutral zone, and they're not going to do anything, especially on offense, if they can't even get to the neutral zone. They cannot stay out of their own zone, and it's going to be a problem. And then I want to talk about some of the forwards, too. Drake Batherson has been invisible all year, and Josh Norris, who, I'm going to say it, is mentally weak. I hate mental weakness, and I will never be a psychologist because I can't stand it. I have to be sympathetic towards these people, and I'm telling you, I can't do it, and I will never be good at it. Josh Norris, and I will give you a brief little history of Josh Norris. So, in 2022-23, so 2 seasons ago, he had a shoulder injury, right? He had one in college a few years back. He signs a big extension after a 35-goal season. He hurts his shoulder, right? He's out for the majority of the season. He comes back in, late January for a couple games, and then he's back on the IR once again. Previous last season, he's out of training camp. He does not play. He has a setback because there were concerns about his shoulder, and for the 50 games that he played in, his confidence was absolutely shot. And guess what? He injures that same shoulder, and there were concerns about his health and everything else, and he's able to come back. He doesn't play any preseason games outside of 1 or 2 at most. So the problem is, this guy has no confidence. He does not have the toughness. He does not have the motivation. He does not have the intensity to play hockey at this moment. And who knows if he ever will. I just see no drive from him at all. And it's starting to get on my nerves. If not, it has already. But it really has been, because we are talking now for a good year now of this guy not being a good and competent enough hockey player. And at some point, you gotta move on from him. Whether it's buyout, trade, whatever it is, Josh Norris cannot be on this team for much longer. I want him gone at the end of the season. By the end of this year, he needs to be gone. He cannot be on this team anymore. This team needs an identity where they're tough to play against and tough within their culture. Josh Norris does not represent that whatsoever. I'm telling you right now, if this doesn't change anytime during the season, he will not be wearing a Senators jersey. I don't want him to wear a Senators jersey anymore. I can't stand him anymore. I'm sorry. I just can't. And on top of that, he's making $8 million. Unbelievable! It is absolutely pathetic that you have a guy making $8 million, and while he's coming off of injuries, and you can say be sympathetic with his injuries and all that, but the problem is he is healthy right at this moment. So if you're healthy enough to play hockey. It is not that difficult. And if you're not going to be tough as a hockey player, you're not built to play the game. It's as simple as that. So Josh Norris needs to wake up, get his head out of his behind, and learn that he is a hockey player, not a hospital patient at the moment. So there's my thoughts. So like I said, a lot needs to happen in the next 48 hours because they have a game on Monday. So things need to change for their next game when they go back home to play the Los Angeles Kings. The effort was absolutely pathetic, like I said. You cannot let a team like the Montreal Canadiens walk over you like they did tonight. Because, like I said, it is not going to get any easier, and a message needs to be sent to the room right now. And the problem is, people are going to be complaining at me that I'm complaining about this in Game 2 of the season. But like I said, if nothing is said after Game 2, it is only going to get worse because you're playing much more better teams than the Senators are right now. This is a season where they need to make the playoffs, and if they put out a lazy effort like they did tonight, they will be nowhere close to the playoffs. So give me your thoughts on this one. I am baffled. I am just maddened by this effort tonight. It is pathetic. and it's got to change. So that's all I got for now. Jack from the Ottawa Senators Outlook, and go Sens go.
Thank you for watching this presentation of the Ottawa Senators Outlook. For more of this podcast, click on the videos on the left and subscribe by clicking on the icon on the right. Thank you.